Good morning and welcome to another 30 minutes with Jan. And can you believe it? It's Thursday again.
I know.
Goodness me. It feels like you get Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, and Tuesday, Wednesday, and then it's just crazy how the time flies now. Eh?
It is.
January felt like about 5 months, and then Feb came and felt like 2 days.
Mm.
Yep. We are talking this morning about everything you keep are going to consider before you immigrate. Now, I know this has been a discussed topic quite a lot, and I
Mm.
mean, not only us, a lot of other people has discussed this. It's been talked widely, and still there's a lot of people that reaches out to us and say, "Hey guys, what about this and what about that?" And then sometimes even I go back and say, "I wish I did this when we came."
Yeah,
Have you been like that?
yeah. I think, yeah, you're never quite prepared for what
No,
it will
for
be like.
and yeah, different countries differ. So probably if you go from here to Russia, you'll have a language
Mm.
barrier as well. But this morning, I would rather just talk about what to consider before moving to New Zealand,
Yes,
because that's important. That's where we are.
yes.
And it looks like my camera's not
It's very
focusing.
blurry.
Very
Yes.
blurry this morning. Because I just washed myself very well this morning.
And I am awake.
I don't know why. Let's just wipe this thing a bit. Let's see if it hasn't been.
No, no,
No, not.
no,
Yeah,
I
let's
don't
hope
know.
for the best. I don't know why that
Yeah.
happens. So,
Okay, so, um,
first of all, what was the big thing that you think you should have you should have actually known before you came here?
um, y- let's just say that before we immigrated, we watched a lot of YouTube
Hmm.
videos and everything about New Zealand,
Yep.
just about what it looks like, a little bit about the culture and
Oh,
other people that immigrated.
that was our weekends. I mean,
Yes.
we started on Friday afternoon until Sunday evening. What
And
time? And
for us, it was so interesting. And the kids was
oh,
just
the
like,
kids
oh
just
my
think we're the most
word, New
boring
Zealand
people in the
again.
world. Yeah, let's get this camera. I don't know why this camera's doing this morning. Okay. Let's hope for the best now.
Yeah,
Probably.
maybe we must just sit still.
Oh, just change the lighting. And let's keep on talking. I mean,
Yeah, it's not the lights. I think it's the camera. But anyway,
I think we're too
so
beautiful for the camera this morning.
I think the first thing that you must just, when you're now ready to move, the first thing that you should do, just to give you a little bit of peace of mind
Hmm.
before you get here, is just sort out your living arrangements, um, for the time being until you are able to
Yeah.
secure a
And
rental.
that is if you can. In the past, you could rent a house over the internet. Now these days, they don't want to rent out houses over the internet.
Yeah,
It's a bit of
we
a
couldn't even do it.
no, but I mean it's a bit of a hiccup. So I would what we did. This is probably not everybody's cup of tea. What we did, we rented an Airbnb. We contacted the owner of the Airbnb and asked for a massive discount. They gave us 50% discount, which worked out basically the same as what our rental would have been for a period of time. And we rented this for 47 days.
Yes.
And that worked well for us. It gave us time to settle into the area, decide where we wanted to live, look around for a house.
Mm.
But why did we take the furthest house in the suburb?
We liked the area that we were
Oh, yeah, it
in
was
when
lovely.
we
So,
got to the Airbnb. So we decided maybe that is where we would want to
hmm.
settle.
For those people who don't know, we started off in Papamoa.
I still love
That's still
Papamoa.
up Papamoa, very near to the beach. So,
It's just a little
yeah.
far from everything else. But anyway, so if you can just secure some kind of living arrangement so
Mm.
that when you get here, you're not that flustered because you don't have
Yeah.
anywhere to go.
I want to say thrown under the bus because
Yeah.
it is quite hectic. So, and to go and live in a hotel for that period of or for the first period of time is probably a bit expensive.
Yeah, well, if
If
you
you
can
got
afford
if you
it,
can
then
afford it,
it's a good
different
idea.
thing. But
Yeah, so I think that is the one thing
yeah,
that you should do, just to give you that peace of mind
mm.
that when you get here, you'll be fine.
Oh yeah, something I want to say as well.
Mm.
We did this, and wherever we traveled in the world, I always do this when I reached the airport. So I buy a SIM card for my telephone. Yeah. That's probably one of the most important things you can ever do in your life when you reach a new country. Buy your SIM card as soon as possible. It gives you the internet, it gives you Google Maps, it gives you a heck of a lot of other things that you normally would be without. So
Mm.
except for the living arrangements, which is very important. I think getting communications up and running, because now suddenly people in South Africa are saying, did he ever get there?
Yeah.
What is happening to him? They can't reach you can't reach them.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And then the next thing that you must just be aware of, even if you move to a country like New Zealand where everyone speaks English, there will be some sort of language barrier.
Oh, yeah.
They use totally a different slang than we do. They don't understand the the words that we use, so they don't know what you're talking about when sometimes you talk about something.
So they don't have robots here?
No, and like a circle, don't talk about a robot and a circle and whatever else. There are just some things that they won't understand.
Bucky.
Yeah. And for us, it was quite like, why don't you know what I mean? But for them, it's the same. Why don't you know what I mean? So there will be some sort of language barrier. So just see that as a learning curve and just see it as an adventure. Don't get upset about it. I know you'll probably be tired and not because you'll really have to focus when they speak to you and look them in the eye.
I would say the first 6 months for me was basically one of the toughest times in New Zealand, to be quite frank.
Just to get used to.
I had to learn a total whole new culture. They speak English, they look like us, they wear the same clothes as us, but they're totally different than South Africans. And I decided from the startup, I'm not going to bring South Africa here and try and make this South African because I've left South Africa. Not in a bad way, don't get me wrong here. I want to adapt to the Kiwi culture because that is my future. It doesn't help me kicking and screaming about it's not like South Africa. It's not going to be like South Africa. So,
and the other thing is, remember, it's different than when you just tour the world. When you tour and you get to a country where they don't speak your language, it's really like, oh, it's so wonderful. But in 4 weeks, you're going home. This is not it. You'll have to get used to it. So just bear with it, and you'll be okay. She'll be all right.
She'll be all right. And don't take offense if they call you a sweet ass.
Yeah. And then the culture. The culture is different than ours, especially when it comes to dinner arrangements, and it is a little bit different than what we are used to. They're talking about tea, and it's actually dinner.
I still struggle with that.
They invite you for tea, and I'm thinking about 11 o'clock maybe or something, and it's actually dinner. But so there are a little bit of a culture difference, and especially if you'll have to do with the Maoris, their culture. But I'm sure if your work is going to be with them or involving them, then you'll probably have to learn quite a few things. I know that they do things a little bit different, and some things that you do may be something that they see as offensive, and for us it's just normal. So there will be, if your work involves working with them, you'll have to adapt a little bit.
And the thing is, I know sometimes we are a bit stubborn. We South Africans can be stubborn. But we have to adapt. We have to adapt because that is the way for us to go forward, really. And the culture differences is quite. You can visibly see culture differences, really. In New Zealand, you can see the culture difference.
Yeah, and then just one thing that I want to say, and this is especially to the men. I know when you come from yes, no, this is true for you as well. If you come from a background where you had your own business and you've been running your own business for 15, 20 years or whatever, and you get to New Zealand and you have to work for a boss again, I know it is difficult because you're used to making up your own mind and your own decisions and whatever else. And they do things differently. And they're not you. I don't know. When you come from South Africa, we just goal getters, I think, and they're not like that. So I know that it's different, but please, for the sake of your family, don't just give up. We got to learn from so many people that went back to South Africa because the men couldn't deal with working for a boss. I really think it's not worth giving up that quickly.
I'm a man. Okay. And I think that is the hardest thing, to come from an area where you were your own boss, to go back under the bench stone under the grindstone, pick up the tools, and work for a boss. Somebody who says, you have to be here at 8 o'clock, and you have to leave at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the hardest things to do. But you got to keep in mind, why have you come to New Zealand?
Yes.
And this is your, I would say, stepping stone into this beautiful country. And if you can do that for the period of roughly about 2 years, or as long as it takes to get your own resident visa,
Yes.
then you can go out and do your own thing.
So I think just I don't know. This may sound harsh, but just suck it up
Just
and
shut
just
up and
stick
go
it
on.
out.
Just shut up and go on.
Yeah, but I think if
So-
you're aware that it may not be what you want it to be, just be aware of that and just kind of get your mind around it.
The one thing
with
you
it.
guys got to understand is you ain't going to walk in and change everything in a
No,
company.
they won't
It's
listen
not
to
going
you.
to happen. They don't listen to you. They will think you are a fool, point one, for suggesting stuff like that. But for that period of 2 years, the people I've spoken to that has been the most successful in this was people that just came in, dropped their head, and went on for the period of 2 years. They didn't try to do anything else. As they said, that's the way they do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it that way.
And you know, at the end of the day, like people that we know,
Yep.
after 2 years, they just don't want to let that guy go. So they just promoted him all the way up. And so, yeah, just give your all, even if it's hard. I know it's not easy, probably, but just give it your best.
And you know, we are proud people. We are. We're proud people, and our work is something that we are proud of, and that is your I can say your lineage, your heritage. So.
Yeah. Okay, and then the next thing is the way that they do business is different from the way that we used to do business in South Africa. I suppose that is for every country that you go with. They just have a totally different way of doing business.
One thing I want to say here is, if something is working for them, don't try and come and change it.
No, they're not going to change it for you. No. This is the way that they do it. So, I'm just thinking of an example. The bank. You can't just go into a bank and see someone there for opening an account or whatever. You have to make an appointment. And even if the people are there, they're sitting there, they're not doing anything, you still have to make an appointment to go and open a bank account. So don't think you're just going to walk into the bank and open an account. Phone, make an appointment, and then you go. But then also the tellers of the bank are just, you walk into the bank, there's no hazards. And the tellers are just standing there in the center of the bank, and that's where they stand. I thought it was information.
Yeah, you can basically
it was the teller.
You can basically either walk around them, or if they are blocked off, they've got 3 little wires running through the thing that I don't know what the wires are for.
I don't know.
It just shows you can't go there.
But it's just a total different way of doing business than we used to. And that I think goes for most of the things. Most things works much easier, like getting your license and I don't know, IOD numbers and everything. It's just so easy.
A tip from my side, and this I had to learn the hard way, is whatever you think of doing today that you need to go and do, first look on the internet, see if you can't do it on the internet.
Yes,
it probably take you 5 minutes on the internet, or 2 hours if you want to go in and try and do it inside.
Like for instance, the way that you set up your electricity and your Wi-Fi and everything.
Internet.
It's not like in South Africa where they switch off your electricity and switch it on again. It's just always on. You just change your what do you call the people that you get?
Oh, you just
service provider.
Yeah,
you just call it. You just change your service provider.
The ones on the other side, so I can put that up on the screen. It says, and now says the corporate world, they are far behind, and so forth. It's one of the things you just got to fit in with where they are.
Yeah,
it's got to fit in with where they are.
I think just think by yourself. Oh my word, I knew this a long time ago. Jan has to, for instance, now study something that he studied in South Africa. How many years ago?
2009. I've already passed those exams.
So he has to do that all over again at the ripe age of 51, and it's not that easy, is it?
It's actually not that difficult. The problem is it's a heck of a lot of work that I don't have time for.
I think it's just frustrating because it's something that you've done before, and now you have to sit and waste your time on that.
And bring it again, and the problem is because they haven't had anything like this in the past, they can't accept our prior, how can I say, our prior exams, which is way more difficult than what this is
Yeah.
entails.
Yeah. And then another thing is the way that they handle criticism. They don't. And they, yeah, you'll just have to
I want to
adapt.
say something here. You got to tread so carefully, especially if you are in the situation where you're not the boss. If somebody has screwed up, even a big screw up, it is not the right thing to tackle them head on, like we would have done in South Africa.
No.
You got to work it with a way around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of the culture.
Part of the culture.
Then
Let's see.
something we don't think we should talk about visas. That's something,
visas is something
that
you
your
could,
immigration advisor
and you
can
won't be
help
able to
with.
come if your visa's right. So.
Then the services and facilities.
Yep.
Yeah, what can we say about that?
Services differ a lot from what you are used to back in South Africa. I don't know if there's anybody else from any other country here. So I'm going to talk about South Africa. In South Africa, if you needed something from the post office, it probably would be the best to go there. She needed, actually, we post out birthday gifts to all of our clients, and every month she just goes on the internet and order all of the packaging she needs from the post office on the internet while sitting in her pajamas, basically.
Yes.
And that gets delivered the next morning.
Yes. And we live, our address is rural. Yep. So how that works is just actually so easy. I just put everything in the bags, and we've got a little post box outside. Put it in the post box and lift the little handle, and then the post delivery guy knows that he's supposed to take the stuff. So I never, ever have to go to the post office, which is great.
And the other thing is that I think if you needed these bags, you would have gone into the post office.
Yeah, you probably can order. I don't know how it changed.
But, I don't know how it changed, but I'm talking about 2016.
But the thing is just, I know that when I posted that thing, it will reach the other side within that week. So,
or sooner.
Yes. So I think the services are quite good.
And if you need anything on the island, you can order it online. It really delivers within a quick period of time.
Yeah.
I actually went the other day and I tried to get myself a new tablet. Now I actually don't like buying electronic stuff over the internet. I'm totally against that. I can promise you that. So I went to everybody who sells tablets in New Zealand. So no liming, what. And nobody had in stock. Nobody. So I eventually got this tablet in Australia. Ordered it in Australia. It came from China somewhere, which made me worry. Goodness me, that's where the extra grey hairs come from, because I don't do this. This is not my nature.
Yeah.
And it arrived at the same time that one of the other companies in New Zealand promised me that they could have it, but they weren't sure of. So within about 5 days, it came all the way from China, landed up in front of my door. They put the tablet's lying here. They put a tablet down in front of my door and left it there for the day. So
you don't have to worry that anyone is going to take your stuff.
Someone's going to take it. Yeah. It's just different way. To get your head around this, sometimes
in the beginning,
difficult.
It's just like, what? Yeah. Wow. What?
Except a wow, you think, geez, I'm lucky nobody stole the thing. So.
I think that's one thing that we can also say is it will take you a while to just adapt to how safe it actually is. I know that there are parts and there are people that had some instances where stuff was stolen and whatever else.
Yeah, it does happen.
99% of the time, you are totally safe. You don't have to worry. Really, you don't have to worry about worrying if you closed your door or locked your door. Yeah. You don't have to lock your car doors when you drive. And it was difficult for Jan. He's still trying to adapt to that within the household situation, I think.
My vehicle now doesn't automatically lock anymore. In South Africa, if a car couldn't automatically lock its door within a few seconds after starting, I would not have bought it. That's just, I don't even know how to switch on the product. I know the product can do it, but I don't know how to switch that on. And I'm not going to try it.
Yeah.
So I don't need it.
Yeah.
I still lock my house doors. I do. So that's me. And it's me as head of the household that feels I need to keep them safe. So, yep. I
Yeah.
still do that. I would even do it if I go to the bathroom, which is on the second floor.
I'm
I
not
would
like
still
that.
lock the front
If he's
door.
not here, I just leave all the doors open. I go take my
Mm.
shower. I go sit outside.
Yeah,
Like it's really, and it
that's just
takes
me.
a while to just realize how
Mm.
awesome and how
It,
blessed you are
it
to live
is. It
where it is
is.
so safe. Yeah.
Um, but I have found myself that I arrive the next morning, go outside my house and see both my garage doors are open, and it didn't really worry me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, then another thing that you just have to figure out before you come, or as soon as you get here, is just how the medical
Yeah.
side of things work.
And that's
Um,
all based on
your
what
vi-
your visa
your
is.
visa
Yeah,
is,
you
yeah,
got to make sure about that,
yeah,
guys. It's important. Medical is quite good down here,
yes, yeah.
but you need to have it. If you are on the wrong visa, you're not going to get it.
Yeah, so just
So,
make sure. And I know that there's something with your kids as soon as they
mm,
turn
18.
18 and you're not a
But
resident, then
let's
there's a
hope
different.
they address that now when
Yeah,
they change the
yeah.
visa. So,
So, but just make sure
yeah,
that you know what the medical side of things are like
rules and
and work like. Yeah.
regulations.
Then we've talked about safety. I'm not going to dwell on that. And
Nah, let's not
then
talk about safety.
your friends and family. This is not something that
I
ever
want to
goes
put that
away.
comment up there.
Mm,
Spend quality time with your family,
yeah,
and that is
definitely
so
there.
important. I had about 3 months that I could spend with my father before his death,
Mm.
and that
And you
made
will
it easier.
always be. I think
Mm.
now thinking back, you are so glad that you
I'm so
really did
glad I
that.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So really try to spend as much time with them as you can because you're gonna be far away.
far away. Question was, where do we stay now? I reckon
We're in
that's from
Tauranga.
coming back from Papamoa side.
Uh,
We stayed in the Tauranga area. We've moved up to Welcome Bay now.
mm, yeah, we're
So
in Welcome Bay.
we're on the
So
rural side of Welcome Bay. I know she's talked about being rural. We're what, 600 meters
yeah, it's not
out
really
of
rural.
town,
It's
something
just
like that. Yeah. So
so yeah, back to friends and family. Spend as much time with them as you can.
mm,
I think we spend as much time with our kids and grandkids at that stage,
yeah,
and
as we
moms and
could.
dads and whatever,
So
as much as we could. We couldn't have done more than we did,
mm,
and still I feel that it wasn't enough. Um, but I think what's made it worse is now with COVID that we couldn't go back to South Africa for
yeah,
a while and we couldn't see them. So that is what made it difficult. So, and when you in New Zealand, just stay in contact with them. I know that friendships kind of fade away.
mm,
Some stick, but most of them just fade
yeah.
away. There's nothing you can do about it. It's just the way that it
Yeah,
is.
you gotta
Yeah,
understand
it's
different
life,
countries,
right?
different.
It's life.
I mean, we're awake, they're asleep.
Yeah, it is.
It's
It's
difficult.
difficult to
So
keep it alive.
yeah, I want to say something about the financial side of stuff. Point one.
Already.
Are we,
Okay.
are we there already or not?
Yeah, well.
Okay, sorry about that. You got to appoint somebody in South Africa that can close down your banks for you. And you need to go into the bank with this person to give them power of attorney. Remember, the
Mm.
banks, you only need to do it on the bank's forms. They don't accept the power of attorney that you've done in front of an attorney, so they don't accept that. So keep that in mind. That's one of the big hurdles we have,
Yes.
or that I see my clients have, even I have.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to close a bank account in South Africa. I actually had an overdraft, and there's enough money in the account just to stop the overdraft. I
Mhm.
can't get it done.
I think everything that you still have in South Africa that you need to
Mm.
end, just end it before you
Only before
come.
you come, it's absolutely ridiculous
Otherwise,
trying
it's
it from this
really
side. Yeah.
it's difficult to try and organize that from so far
And
away.
that's a big headache because, I mean, you want to do the right thing.
Mm.
I still owe, I think, in MTN, what's the company, MTN?
Mm.
I still owe them something like 300 Rand or something because they couldn't give me my last account.
We went into
Went
MTN and
into
asked
MTN
them
for,
if we owed him anything. No, you owe us nothing. And then now, when we arrived in New Zealand, and still they can't seem to get it. But anyway, that's one
uh,
thing. Another thing is just saving up for immigrating.
guys, it's expensive.
It is expensive.
It's expensive.
We always say that whatever you have, whatever you budgeted for,
Yep.
you can double that. because it's just the little things and the extra here and there that you didn't think of, even if it's just paying extra for your
Yeah.
luggage on the airport, and renting a car that may be more expensive than you're thinking, or yeah, there's little costs
Yeah, and
that you
I know
don't
a lot
think
of
of.
people has already burnt their fingers with when they underestimated the cost. Even something like the
Mm,
forex exchange. If you work
yeah,
at 10 rand to the dollar, and it suddenly changes to 10 rand 50 to the dollar,
yeah.
you short by quite a margin.
And if you are coming this way, um, and you'll have to survive on your South African money
Mm.
for a while, it
It bites you.
that roll.
It bites you. You you burn money like crazy. I
Yes, it's
promise
really
you.
expensive. You
I
get
promise
quite
you.
worried.
Yeah.
I
And,
got quite worried when I saw how quickly the money just
and
rolled.
then you still take a South African bank card. You can buy with a bank card, and that's even worse
Yeah,
because the forex rate that the banks give you, it's
yeah.
amazingly bad,
So
really.
just to
So
not be stressed that
yeah.
much, just make sure that you saved enough money to survive on
I
for a
think
while.
we can probably do talk about the financial side of immigration
Yeah, you
because
said you were going to.
yeah, I said I was going to,
Yeah.
but it's time probably that we do that as well
Okay.
because people can start moving back here
Yeah.
now.
Bef-
What
Did
else do you want to
no,
talk
I
about?
think that was it. I just wanted to say quickly what next week is going to be about. So
Oh
if
yeah.
you know about people that needs to hear that, please ask them to join
Mm,
next week. We are going to have Penny Lane Carlitz, who is going to speak about how to handle your children and your
yeah.
teenagers and even your grown-up children um, that's struggling with immigration. I know we had quite a few moms the other day that
Mm,
had so many questions and was really struggling just to know how to deal with their kids because the children are suffering so much when you immigrate. So next week, Penny Lane is going to talk about that. So if you know someone that's struggling at the moment, please ask them to just
I join
tune
in
in.
and ask your
Yeah,
questions
yeah, she'll be here
as
to
they go
answer
on.
any questions,
Mm.
and I know that she is available also for private conversations, and
Yeah,
yeah, so please,
yeah, we'll get her details for you, and
yes,
afterwards just
yeah.
pop it through.
So we're looking
So
forward to that. That's something
yeah,
that can really help someone.
so
That's
let's quickly sum up immigration. You got to have a good decent bag of money.
it.
You got to have a lot of geduld. What is geduld in English?
Patience.
Patience. You got to have a lot of patience, and you got to know how to turn the blind eye and just go on, because that's not going to worry you if you
You're
worry
going to
about
stress
that.
yourself, and
You're
no one
going to
else is going to be
stress
stressed
yourself
about
out.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
roughly that.
Yeah.
All right. Say goodbye to the people
Bye.
because I think she's going to have some homework to do today. Is that right?
Homework.
Yeah. Can you wash and iron and stuff?
Well, I do that every day.
All right, guys and girls. Thanks, and until next week, same time, same place. See you there.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye.